Escape room workers of Reddit. What's the most absurd thing players have done? I did an escape room with my family and the workers have to tell you not to lick the light bulb. This is because some guy thought, if he licked the light bulb the answer would be revealed on the light bulb. The only answer he found was light bulbs are hot and can burn you. Attended a Saw series themed escape room with my so and some randoms. Since the room required 4 to 6, we get locked into start. Chained to fixtures like the dark room scene from the movie. Lights are off. As soon as the thing starts, one of the randos says, "I have a gun in case we need to shoot someone." I thought he was joking. We all did. Eventually the lights turn on, and he pulls out a real gun, and sits it in the sink and says, "I'm leaving the gun in the sink in case something happens to me. It's for everyone." A kid I knew from school. His family owns an escape room business. The most things that happen is people trying to take things when it's clearly nailed down or nailed to the wall. Then he said that a little kid pissed in a bottle. Not sure if this counts. I did an escape room with a group of friends. At the end, you found a flash drive which was supposed to be plugged into a computer. We opened the document and there were instructions to print. We got print, and the printer gave us an out of ink error. We assumed this was part of the game and started looking for a magenta cartridge. Then an employee slipped in the room, replaced the cartridge, and told us to hit print again. Apparently it was not part of the game. They just ran out of ink. I once had a group of drunk guys go in, and they ran through their allotted hints pretty quickly. They asked for another hint, and we said over the speakers that they were out of hints. One of the guys threatened to start taking off his clothes until we gave another hint. Edit. For everyone asking, we didn't even have to give him the extra hint. His friends chilled him out and ended up finding the next clue pretty shortly after that. I work at an escape room and too many customers come to play and then put the torches in their mouth. Disgusting. We've had a couple get in the room and start to get frisky instead of playing the game. Had one who was super drunk and just started to piss in the corner of one room. Another lady who had been drinking who decided to stay in the room and puke everywhere, and then put props over the top of piles of puke instead of leaving the room to go to the toilet, and many others. First thing I had to learn working at an escape room. Everything, yes everything, in the room was going to be dismantled, pulled on, or messed with in some way. Have a screwdriver in the room. Maybe there's a clue in the light switch cover. Black light. Must have to take it completely apart. TV for clues. Must have to unplug/change inputs. And anything not nailed down is bound to be broken. My buddy guessed a locks combo which gave us the final clue. But we had not found the other ones. We ending up solving the room backwards. When the room administrator came in she had nothing else to say, but "What the duck did you guys do?" Mate worked at an escape room, and he told me that some guys tried to smash a hole in the wall to get out, because it was an Alcatraz themed room. Not terribly ridiculous, but me and the husband loved them, and wanted to share our love of them with our family. When we got out of the escape room, the super amazing nuclear explosion room in Chattanooga, Tennessee, the room operator was cracking up laughing. I guess at one point, in order to get keys or clues, my over-enthusiastic husband had picked up my 8-year-old nephew by the ankles upside down, and was shoving him in barrels. I had no idea he was doing this, but the operator was dying. Had a group come in. I noticed they had been drinking a little, but seemed mostly fine. So I let them into the room, and start the clock. They were just wandering around. At the half an hour mark they were laying on the floor and rolling around. They didn't do any harm to the room. I don't remember if they even solved one puzzle. When I let them out after an hour they claimed it was fun. But they didn't really do anything. And did they remember it the next day? IDK. Oh my god. My time has come. People do dumb crap in escape rooms constantly. But that's the whole point. And it's usually in good fun. The best part of my old escape room job was that it was literally right next door to a brothel. People would frequently come to our door not realizing that they were one door over from where they wanted to be and ask, "Hey, how much me?" in my customer service voice. Well, it depends on how many people you bring. It's $40 each if you're a group of 2. And goes down to $32 each if you're a group of 8. Usually we recommend groups of 4 to 6 people. That seems to be the sweet spot. Their looks of horror will make me laugh forever. At an escape room near me, they had a group of lads on a stag do. These guys got very drunk, and during the escape room, thought they could escape via the sewers. They managed to rip out the manhole cover, which was bolted down into concrete. This cover is now permanently broken as it's too expensive to fix, they said. Advised us to not escape via the sewers. One guy pissed on the wall, thinking the plaster was snow. A group came in that disassembled some of the furniture, a bed and a desk, ripped some of the wallpaper off the walls, and pulled the heads off some stuffed animals. I interviewed for a job at an escape room. They told me that one of their standard instructions you must tell every group is to not stick things in electrical outlets, because too many people did it. Escape room enthusiast here. We spent far more time than I care to admit trying to figure out what the hell the numbers written in Sharpie on the underside of the rug in the middle of the room meant. Turns out they were an inventory number from the thrift store the designer bought the thing from. And nobody else had ever noticed them before. We still won. But that wasted a lot of our time. Not an escape room worker. But second time I went to one, the owner told me that once a group decided to smash all the locks because they found the hammer on which a clue is written. They had to replace all locks, and it is now a toy hammer. I'd like to say those people were morons, but when we found it, the same idea was discussed in our group. I was a player, and I was in a large cage. Through the bars I had to open a heavy lock. The cage was dimly lit with lead bars on the floor. I got the lock open, but due to it being heavy and me having to handle it through the bars, I dropped it on the lead bar. At first I thought the light turning off was part of the room. Turns out I broke the lead bar. As players, we walk into a pirate-themed escape room. There is treasure on the floor, a cannon, a parrot, scattered maps, and a piano. My friend is like, oh cool, I can play some backing music. Proceeds to play Pirates of the Caribbean theme and clunk. The door unlocks and the game is over. The whole point was to solve puzzles, to collect pieces to the music sheet of the theme. Best 30 seconds and €20 ever spent. One of them believed the clue was inside them. Not an escape room worker. Not absurd, but funny. I was at a heist-themed escape room over Christmas, which featured a bit where you have to maneuver past lasers and get a diamond. If you tripped the laser, the display case would close, and you needed to go back to the start of the room to reset everything. After we finished the room, we were told about a group of 4 elderly women who just walked through the lasers, and had one of the group stay at the beginning, resetting the trip. Absolute geniuses. I can just imagine it. The cackling as they break the system. Pulled the air vent covers off the walls/floor. Had to add in an official disclaimer in the rules spiel I did before they went in the room. No clues in the air vents. Customers were stupid a lot, but it was a pretty sweet gig overall. Not a worker, but was with a group of people, and one of them became so overwhelmed that almost immediately after walking in, they spun around and walked right back out again. My dad owns an escape room in a small town in Norway, and the weirdest thing someone has done is probably trying to punch the camera. The guy was like 150 centimeters tall and couldn't reach it. After trying 3 times to punch it, he gave up. Once did an escape room with work. One in Birmingham, UK. Sherlock Holmes themed room. I walk in last. Spot a flat cap on the door, and as I have an innate need to wear any hat I find, I stuck it on my head. 25 minutes later, we still haven't cracked the first clue, which requires us to find a key. You'll know where this is going. We asked for help. The detective likes his hat. Lo and behold, the first clue has been on my head for almost half of the allotted time. I was the player here. This was a horror-themed escape house with people in costumes screaming at you from time to time with chainsaws and crap. We were in a room with an open jail cage, and we knew the next clue was in that cage, but it's pretty obvious that cage was designed to scare the crap out of whoever was inside. I waltzed in. The cage door slammed shut behind me. I took the note and slipped myself out between the bars. We waited for several minutes until I slipped back into the cage so the game could progress. Later on, the workers told us they were really surprised when I had slipped out of their trap and were trying to figure out what to do next. Not a worker, but a participant. My friend thought the solution to a puzzle was to press on the corners of several framed pictures in a specific sequence. The box wasn't unlocking itself from what he thought was the correct solution. So he pressed on the corners harder. Needless to say, one of the frames broke, and the glass panel covering the picture fell out and shattered on the ground. We had to call the workers in to help clean up the glass shards. Didn't get in any trouble and we ended up escaping the room though. Not a worker, but the local escape room in my town has an absurd thing the players do to get clues. If we are stumped, we have to do the Imca dance motions if we need help. I have a fun one. The escape room I used to work in had an outdoors riddle hunt alongside the normal escape room setup. The boss never cared to explain to me how the outdoors hunt worked, so I always picked shifts only when no one had ordered the outdoors thing. Once, however, unannounced, this drunk bachelorette party showed up claiming that they ordered the outdoors hunt. There was some bug in the ordering software, and while I was explaining myself they demanded a striptease. I did not do it obviously. Regardless, they did the room instead, and pretty well actually, and then they gave me a fat tip. Cheers. The escape room was 2 rooms, but the door to the first was broken, so it was always open. So when we unlocked the first door we thought that it wasn't actually open. Closed it and went back to looking for clues. In our defense, there was a light above it that was red. We thought that if it opened it would turn green. I was pissed, cause we wasted 15 minutes, and without that we would have had a record time and won a free game of laser tag. Some of them tried to escape,